Hey there, it's Alex, and welcome to Hardly Working. This year we just reviewed our annual sales and things are not looking good.
Hey there, it's Alex, wrench in one hand, coffee in the other. Trading CNC and deadlines for mischief, mayhem, and bother. From the shop to the cornfields, from the drill press to the stars. Retirement's calling, aliens are crawling, time to vanish those green Mars bars. Hardly working, hardly sleeping, but I'm still on the hunt. Aliens, odd jobs, and dad jokes, yes, I'll confront. Retirement's weird, but hey, no boss, just cosmic toys. Tune in now for some rusty tools, UFOs, employ of the boys. Yeah, I'm supposed to relax, but I found a ray gun in the garage. Welcome to...
Yeah, so I've told you about my machine shop that I own, and I gave a little tour of it. Small, you met some of the guys who work there, and but the one thing that I really haven't mentioned at all is this year we've had some difficulties. We came back from Christmas break last year, and the sales had just simply plummeted. We had a lot of things that are considered long-term contracts, which are parts that we continually run, and those contracts sometimes sunset and more work comes in. But we had lost about $150,000 a year of this long-term contracted work. And I approached our buyer at our biggest customer. We have about 5 customers that we supply, but one of them supplies us with about 75% of our work. And I know what you're saying about the eggs in one basket, but if you do aerospace right now, you're going to be doing a unbalanced amount of work for Boeing, because Boeing owns everything. Boeing had bought, in the 1990s, they bought Rockwell, they bought McDonnell Douglas, they bought as much as they could buy and merge with. The only other independent aerospace manufacturers on that level is Lockheed and Northrop. So anyways, our main customer, represents about 75% of our work. We've been doing work with them for 26 years. We have a really good, solid relationship with them. But to just explain, the packages that they get, they try to get work for their size machines and equipment. And within those packages, they get parts that they don't want to run. And that's where we come in. We contract to run these smaller parts that they don't want to run. So they don't ever look for work for us. There just always seems to be plenty. But in recent years, about, like I said, $150,000 worth of work had sunsetted. And I went to my buyer at this company that we've been supporting for 26 years. And I said, hey, look, we had lost all this long-term work and things are looking grim. Is there anything on the horizon? And they said, yeah, we're looking at this one package that's going to be perfect for you. It's a lot of work for us, a lot of work for you. Just hold tight and I'll try to get you as much work as I can. And lo and behold, they gave us all kinds of extra work, but they're not the kind of bread and butter type work. It's just like one-off 20, 50, 100 piece orders that, you do, it's part of the mix. But if this is all you have in your business, then you're not going to be doing well. You're going to struggle. So our revenue just with this one company went from $400,000, and this year went down to what we project about $230,000. And that was so significant that it actually put, my machine shop into the red. I'm projecting that we're going to have a loss of about $30,000. Now, we took a loss during COVID. During COVID, the aerospace industry just collapsed. Nobody was flying. Anybody who had a plane on order canceled the order or put it on hold. And so for 2 years in 2020 and 2021 because of COVID, we took a loss, and most everybody in aerospace did. This was a decision I made to just say, you know what, we're gonna struggle through this. We're gonna mothball the company for as long as it takes, and we'll be back to fight another day. And then lo and behold, 2022 was a much better year. We actually went in the black in 2023, 2024. Good profit years. We did really well. But then came 2025, where all this work sunsetted and nothing substantial was replacing it. This bread and butter work that's the foundation of any machine shop. And my largest customer, they've been really helpful. They've been negotiating this one package for a year. And it had come to the end of the year, and I had a meeting with not only the president, somebody that I have a 36-year relationship with, but my buyer and the general manager. And I said, listen, I've got 4 or 5 years left. And when I was younger, in my 30s and 40s and 50s, this is just something to struggle through, take the loss, and come back to. But I have 4 years left, really, of running this shop. And I don't think that without having a commitment to this type of foundational long-term contract work that I want to continue. I could close the shop, I could liquidate, I could sell everything off, and I can go to work, put my 43 years of experience to someone else and help another shop and earn my money that way. And, you know, it wouldn't be as good as the really profitable years, but, you know, I think, you know, I could do it. It would be fine. It would be better than taking another loss, another year in the red, and then another year in the red as my window till I retire begins to dwindle. So since we're close to the end of the year, I could run projections. And I went to the president, somebody I've known for a long time, and I said, listen, I know you're trying to get this one package, but it's been a year. You know, I've never seen a package take this long to negotiate. And well, this is for Boeing, and Boeing does this thing with these. When there's a nice package they know you want, and you settle on the prices, and they go, you know what, this is a multi-million-dollar package to my customer, and that we know you want. And what they tend to do in the end is they put in a job that is problematic, and they say, you know, if you want the package, this is part of the package. And this one part that they're negotiating is just a nightmare. They pretty much put in a price that, listen, we don't want this at all, but if you want us to quote it, this is the price. And then Boeing came back and said, no, the price is half of what you're saying. And they went back and they re-quoted it and re-looked at everything. And after re-looking and sharpening their pencil on it, they said, you're right, we were wrong about this price. It's actually a couple $1,000s more for this assembly. So what Boeing is trying to do is saying, listen, you want this package, you're going to have to eat this along with it. And that's what stalled everything up. In the meantime, they're doing what are called spot buys. They're buying this part on a ad hoc as they need basis. And that's why it's been just kind of stalled for a year. And I told Boris, I said, Boris, waiting on this package, and you guys have done so much, and all my customers have done so much when I said, listen, we're in a little bit of trouble here, we need more work, has sent me everything that they could. They really did. But at the end of the year, this $150,000 deficit in this foundational work has put us, I project, about $30,000 in the red. And I said, listen, it's the end of the year. I need to make a decision of whether I want to close shop and go do something else, take my experience and help another company out, or whether we're going to go at it for the next 4 years. But I'm not going to bump at the bottom and take a red for the last 4 years of the business. And he said, yeah, I hear you, I understand. And I did some calculations. I said, until this package either materializes or falls apart completely, I need $50,000 more work than we did last year. And all my other customers had stepped up also, I think to the degree that they can. And the president of my largest customer said, we can do that. You know what? We've been doing business for 26 years. I'm going to get that done for you. It's done. Well, that's really great until everybody tries, because I don't see the work out there. I really don't, that they have. So I also had a meeting with the general manager and my buyer, and I said, listen, the big boss, your boss, just basically committed to me $50,000 more work. And this is going to break us even, make a little bit of profit while we wait for this contract to materialize. And I said, the big boss just put you on the hook for $50,000 more work for me. And he did it without even blinking. But what I need to know from you, because the general manager and the purchasing agent are the ones that are actually going to have to come up with the work. And I said, are you as enthusiastic about this happening? Because that's the distinction between whether I close shop in January or whether I give it another year, because I'll commit for another year. And that's a hard commitment. That means paying payroll, paying workman's comp insurance, paying the rent, paying all the things in order to stay on. So I'm willing to make that commitment if they, not just the president, not just the big guy, because he's not the one who's actually going to have to do the legwork to do this. It's also the general manager and our buyer. And I said, I am going to commit to keeping the shop open, and but I need a commitment from not just the president, but both of you guys, that you know where this work's going to come from. And as I suspected, they said, you know, Alex, we don't know where this work's going to come from. We're just going to have to scrub everything and see what's available and this and that. I said, okay, fine. I understand. I completely understand that. But I have to make a decision by the end of the year, because we've been waiting on this contract for a year. And of course, it still might not materialize. I've seen things that look very sure just fall apart. And I said, you need to give me something better than a we're going to try as hard as you can that's going to end up with a, well, we tried our best. I said, I need to see if you guys can actually commit before the end of the year to $50,000 worth of additional work, additional revenue for us, because all my other customers did what they could. And they said, you know what, we will. We'll come back to you as soon as we can and tell you whether we found that work for you or not. Because, you know, if I'm making a full commitment like this, I need to have an assurance. And if it doesn't, if they come back and say, listen, the best we can tell you is we're going to try our best and we're going to do everything we can, well, then my decision ultimately has to be to mothball the company, sell off the assets, and go find something else to do. Put my 43 years of experience to work for someone else. So that's where we are. That's where we are. And I just want to share that with you, because I shared a walkthrough of my shop and what I do, but this is something that's challenging for us this year. And it may be the difference between whether we operate next year and for the next 4 years, or this is the point where I close the shop down. Anyways, I just wanted to share that with everybody, since it's all tied into my journey into retirement. And this is going to be something that's going to have to significantly change one way or the other. And, you know, it's just the things that come along in business and in life that you have to deal with. And, you know, I'm really hoping that it can work through, that they actually can get together this $50,000 package that keeps me in a holding pattern until this larger package that they've been working on really, really diligently to get materializes. And I said, I'll give it another year. And if it doesn't materialize, well then, you know, that's fine. This business has run a 27-year course, and it was nothing but a success. Or we get the contract, and I'm going to have a certain assurance that that foundational that foundational contract of long-term work is going to be there to make the make our company, make our machine shop productive and profitable for the next 4 years. So anyways, that's been weighing heavily on me, and it's actually helpful to share it and discuss it with my 7 subscribers right now. And we'll see. I'll keep you posted. I'll keep you posted about what's going on and what's happening. Now, I wanted to do something better with every video that I've had, and just I want my commitment to this is every video I'm going to do something that adds something that's going to make it better. I'm not going to try to change the world in a day. And this year, or this episode, I got these lapel mics just so that the sound quality, that I'm not using the microphone on the camera anymore. So that was this episode's improvement. And think of other things to do. Going forward, I'm thinking about what type of episodes I'm going to be doing for you. And look forward to more content. And thanks for listening. All right.